So Captain America says, happy birthday, everyone. So I just want to make a quick video about Captain America. Today is July 4th, but it also happens to be Captain America's birthday because Captain America is a character who's personifying the sky. And if you know anything about all of our holidays in the U.S., all of our holidays are actually about the skies. We might get different stories about them, but they're all different encodes for the sky. And July 4th happens to be the furthest the sun is away from the Earth, supposedly, if you go by NASA's model. And this is something called aphelion, and it has the word lion in it or Leo in it, talking about the sun. And we celebrate it as Independence Day, but it's also an independence play on being away from or free from the sun's power, because some people pervert the idea of the sun sometimes. So we have that encoded in the Captain America story, and that's what's going on today. And if you pay attention to the 4th of July, instead of paying attention to the sky during the day, we're often enticed to pay attention to the sky at night through fireworks and all. And I think we're missing an important thing that might happen during the day. And if you think this isn't true, consider that Canada has a Canadian holiday right before Independence Day in the U.S. And it's not because it just so happened that these holidays align, but more so that there's something that's going on in the sky that is observable from North America, so to say. And that's what these holidays hide that story. So we have Captain America. He is a character with a star on his chest, letting you know that you should be thinking about the sky. He's personifying the sky. And he is a character with blonde hair. So we know he's a character who's representing the angel or angle of the sun. He is a rabbit, where he went through the rabbit hole, where he was stuck in ice, but somehow is now in our new timeline. He doesn't belong here. He's out of place. And his partner is the opposite of that. The Buck Moon is personified in the Winter Soldier in Bucky Barnes. And Bucky Barnes is a play on 22 concept, which is a story of titanium. And you see in a lot of different Titanic or titanium type stories, giant stories, that 22 is encoded. And in the Winter Soldier story, we have the giant trinity of Titanic-like ships. And both of them similar are frozen in the ice, where you have the good bunny and the bad bunny. And that's what's encoded in that character. Another interesting part of Captain America's story is the concept of Sam. A lot of rabbit hole stories, you'll see a character accompanied by Sam, and this is a play on the Lepus constellation in Sirius Dog Star. Sometimes the dog will be Sam, sometimes the main character will be Sam, or sometimes their partner just will be Sam. Example of this would be like Frodo in the Lord of the Rings, where he has Sam with him. In the Transformers films, we have Bumblebee, which is playing the rabbit, the character that went through the rabbit hole, and he has Sam with him. Same thing with I Am Legend, Sam the dog. And you see this in the Bugs Bunny cartoon as well, where you have Yosemite Sam. But it's just an encode of the sky story in these characters. And it's just further proof that there really can't be no original story. So we have the Black Captain America. So somewhere early around 2015, 2016, everything kind of went moon-based. So a lot of our stories are now moon-based. And especially after the snap or the coronavirus as well time period, we still are in a moon phase. So if you notice, all the stories coming out, especially from Marvel, for example, are all moon-based. The Skrulls, the werewolf stories. And this is why X-Men can't come out yet, because the storytelling has to leverage the time period of the sky. And this is why all the stories are sky-based. But because of that, some characters they couldn't get rid of, or they just kind of inverted them, where we now have the Black Captain America. And that, even though this has been a thing in a comic book, because we've been from moon phase to sun phase before in stories of the past. Now we're just in the moon phase. So we have Anthony Mackie, and Mac is a word that means moon. So a character whose name encodes a tiny moon, now being the Captain America. And similarly, he has the angel or the falcon wings kind of on him as well, indicating that he is an aspect of the sky, the moon. Concept of inverting or changing the race or woke culture, as we would say, is all play on just the inversion of the moon. I think the concept of inverting it to make you think that it's about race and or gender bias and all these things are really distracting you, that they're just swapping the power of storytelling from the sky from sun to moon based stories. Another interesting parallel is this relationship dynamic that Captain America has with Anthony Mackie, or Sam. You see that, since we know Captain America is the sun-based Captain America and Falcon is the moon-based, similar to Spider-Man and Miles, we have a scene where they're running around the Washington monuments, and you see that there's a sun shrine there, and then the Lincoln Memorial is a moon-based temple, and every pillar in the Lincoln Memorial, you see a different phase of the moon. So you have the sun shrine separated by water to the moon shrine, and you have both the sun and moon running around it or racing around it. And I just thought that was an interesting scene because it encodes so much more than people realize. And then another thing that I like about this concept of Captain America is you kind of see that he is kind of like a play on Joe Biden, as people pointed out with the Endgame movie, with his older version looking like Joe Biden. And I think that's because that's an announcement that the country has ended. You see that Captain America is a rabbit character, and this red, white, and blue stripes on him are kind of play on rabbit characters. For instance, Where Waldo, Toby from Animal Crossing. A lot of other rabbit characters will have this kind of stripe or swirl on them, and that's just a play that it's a rabbit hole or swirl character. But our American flag also has that. And if you know anything about the countries in the world, they all have stars and sun and moon on their flags, and the two countries that are the biggest odds with each other have the biggest star and the biggest moon on their flags. But then our country, the U.S., is a rabbit hole country because it kind of has put society on a hole down this level. And you see that our flag kind of has that rabbit hole characteristic towards it. So being so that this is the year of the rabbit, and we are in the July 3rd weekend period of Philion, and then also this year, conveniently, the Buck Moon was occurring right around that time, and now you're seeing the pop-up of stories that are similar or kind of related to this, like the Titanic, thing about the Winter Soldier movie's theme with the Buck Moon. And I just thought it'd be interesting to talk about Captain America. But in this next section, I'm going to show you some relation or connections between other stories that are similar to Captain America, and how they're all really just retelling the same aspect or the same sky story and coded in these different stories. So we'll start off with the Sonic the Hedgehog. I did some work before on Sonic the Hedgehog and Captain America, specifically Knuckles and the Winter Soldier. But we'll start with this to give you kind of an idea. Then I'll explain a little bit more and add a lot more stories.
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?